When you think about midfield Formula 1 drivers from the 2000s, you probably think of Ralf Schumacher, Juan Pablo Montoya, or even Jarno Trulli. But one driver that achieved a relatively same level of success as these other three, but that is not talked about as much as many other comparable drivers, is Alexander Wurz. In this video, I'll be talking about how Wurz's career is quite interesting and deserves to be talked about more. This is the forgotten career of Alexander Wurz. Wurz was born in whatever this town is pronounced, Austria, in 1974, and like many other Formula 1 drivers, he started out his racing career in karting. But unlike many other Formula 1 drivers, he competed in BMX events in his youth, and even won the BMX World Championships in 1986. In 1989, he started karting and got second place in the Austrian Karting Championship that year. After another year at karting in 1990, Wurz graduated to car racing in 1991 in Formula Ford, which that year he got second in an International Formula Ford Championship. He participated in and won various other Formula Ford championships until, in 1993, he started racing in the Austrian Formula 3 Championship, in which he won the series that year. The next 2 years, Wurz raced in the German Formula 3 series, in which he got a best point finish of second in 1994. For 1996, Wurz raced in the DTM series, and he also participated in the Le Mans 24 Hours that year, in which he won it, alongside teammates Davy Jones and Miguel Roeder, becoming the youngest winner of the Le Mans 24 Hours to date. In 1997, Wurz became a test driver for the Benetton Formula 1 team, then was called up to race for the Canadian, French, and British Grand Prix that year, in place of Gerhard Berger, who was unable to race those races due to illness. Wurz retired from the Canadian and French Grand Prix, but then spectacularly got a podium finish at the British Grand Prix, his first ever race finish. After that, he went back to his role of test driver after Gerhard Berger returned at the German Grand Prix, a race that Berger won, showing that Wurz could have had another podium if he had raced that day. For 1998, Wurz was promoted to a race seat in place of outgoing Gerhard Berger, who retired. Wurz had a great first half of the season, getting 6 points finishes, 5 of those being 4th places, and no doubt a podium finish would have been possible in a few of those races, especially in Monaco, where a podium was taken away by a collision with Michael Schumacher. The second half of the season was quite noticeably worse than Wurz's first, with poor finishes and poor reliability, giving him no more points to a finish of 8th at the end of the season in the Drivers' Championship, outscoring his teammate Giancarlo Fisichella by 1 point. This season was a good one for Wurz, as even though he didn't get any podiums, he got 17 points to 8th in the Constructors' Championship. However, his team had dropped from 3rd in the Constructors' Championship that year prior to 5th that year, with no wins and only 2 podiums. For 1999, Wurz stayed with Benetton, which the car was noticeably worse that year. Wurz started the season with a retirement in Australia, and then got a non-points finish with 7th in Brazil. Wurz retired the next race in Imola, but then got a point with a 6th place in Monaco. Wurz got a non-points 10th place finish in Spain, and then retired from the Canadian Grand Prix, while his teammate got a podium in what was a subpar car that year. After retirement in France, and 10th place finish in Britain, Wurz got points with a 5th place at his home race in Austria, which went on to be his and the team's final points of the season. The next 3 races in Germany, Hungary, and Belgium yielded 3 non-point finishes with 2 7th places and 1 14th place. After 2 retirements and non-point 7th place finish, Wurz capped off his mediocre season with a 9th place finish in Japan, scoring no points. That season was a forgettable one for Wurz and the team, with Wurz falling to 13th in the Drivers' Championship with only 3 points, and the team dropped to 6th in the Constructors' Championship with only 1 podium that year. For 2000, Wurz stayed with the Benetton team, and started off the season with a 7th place in Australia, scoring no points. The next race in Brazil, Wurz retired while his teammates scored a podium with 2nd place. Wurz got 4 non-points finishes the following races, then he retired in the Monaco, while his teammate got a 3rd place podium finish. In Canada, Wurz got 9th, while his teammate got another 3rd place podium finish. A few more retirements and non-points finishes followed, until Wurz scored 2 points with his 5th place finish at the Italian Grand Prix, which was his and the team's last point of the year, and he finished off the season with a 10th in the US, a retirement in Japan, and then a non-point 7th place finish in the season-ending Malaysian Grand Prix. 2000 season for Wurz was noticeably worse than his last one, with him only gaining 2 points and dropping to 15th in the Drivers' Championship with no podiums, unlike his teammates' 3 podiums that season. This poor performance led Wurz to be dropped by the Benetton team for Jensen Button for the 2001 season, which was Benetton's last season in the sport before they were rebranding to Renault. For 2001, Wurz took up a testing role for the McLaren F1 team, and after the departure of Mika Hakkinen for a sabbatical at the end of the 2001 season, Wurz was in contention to take a seat. The seat, however, went to the Finn Kimi Räikkönen. Wurz stayed with the testing role in McLaren until Juan Pablo Montoya injured himself in the middle of the 2005 season, so Wurz replaced him for the San Marino Grand Prix that year. He finished 4th in the race, but then was promoted to 3rd after the disqualification of the BAR Honda drivers. The podium made Wurz the holder of the longest time between successive podiums, a period of about 8 years between his first one and this one. For 2006, Wurz moved to become a test driver for the Williams F1 team, no doubt because the chance of getting a race seat with them was much more than it was with McLaren. For 2007, it was announced that Wurz would replace Mark Webber for Williams, as Webber was going to Red Bull. This was Wurz's first full-time race seat in 7 years, and he was to partner Nico Rosberg that season. Wurz started out the season with retirement in Australia, then got 2 non-point finishes in Malaysia and Bahrain. Wurz retired from the Spanish Grand Prix before his first point of the season was 7th in Monaco. Next race in Canada, Wurz took a 3rd place finish, the final podium of his career. Non-points finishes followed for Wurz, 10th in the US, 14th in France, and 13th in Britain, before Wurz's final points in F1 came at the European Grand Prix at the Nürburgring with 4th place. He was chasing Mark Webber for the final podium spot towards the end of the race, but was unable to catch him. Wurz then got a 14th place finish in Hungary, 11th place finish in Turkey, 13th place finish in Italy, and he got 2 consecutive retirements in Belgium and Japan. After his 12th place finish in the penultimate round of Japan, Wurz departed from the Williams F1 team, stating that the reason they left was because he was questioning his own commitment. He was replaced by Williams reserve driver Kazuki Nakajima for the final race of the season in Brazil. Wurz's 2007 season was nothing stellar, but still good. He got less points than his teammate, but had 1 podium while his teammate had none, and got 13 points to 11th in the championship. For 2008, Wurz became the test driver for the Honda team and stayed with them for 2009 as they became the Braun F1 team. He left Formula 1 at the end of 2009 to do endurance racing, but I will be brief about this as this is an F1 channel after all. In 2009, Wurz won his second 24-hour Le Mans race alongside teammates David Brabham and fellow F1 driver Marc Genet. He raced in the World Endurance Championship full-time from 2012 to 2015, getting 5 wins in that period, with the best end-of-season point finish of 3rd in 2012. At the end of the 2015 racing season, Wurz announced he would retire from racing full-time. However, he returned in a few rounds of the 2018 World Rallycross Championship. Throughout his whole F1 career, Wurz flew under the radar, driving for midfield teams. However, this does not mean that he was a bad driver, as he was able to get points and even podium finishes in subpar machinery, and was able to battle with the best F1 drivers at times, even if they did not want to battle back. He was, however, plagued with unreliability and bad luck in some races where he would have scored podiums and points throughout his career. To conclude, Wurz's career is a memorable one, and one that had moments, so it deserves not to be forgotten. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider liking. If you like the channel, consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.